I just realized that one thing I forgot to talk about in my last participation activity was there was a part of the graph, it was the linear part where there was a line and then there was an open circle and then the line on the other side. And that point, this point right here, had a y coordinate that was a 6 and the x coordinate was was that the 2? I can't remember what it was. I think it was the 2. As x approaches 2 from the left and the right. No, that was the 4. That was 4. But anyway, technically that circle was open. Boop. It was an open circle, which means there really wasn't a point there. So it was really undefined at that point. But you still approached, as you approached from the left side, you were getting closer and closer to a point that had a y coordinate of 6. And also when you approached it from the right side, you were getting closer and closer to a point that had a y coordinate of 6. So that's why they said it was a limit. Now, in participation activity number 2, I actually had a graph to look at, but you won't always have a graph to look at. And so when you don't, what they expect you to do is actually calculate those y coordinates. See, on a graph, I could just look to see which y coordinate it was getting close to. And maybe some people have trouble doing that visually. Maybe this might make more sense to you. And I noticed they gave me one hell of a function on this one. They gave me a trig function. So I have to use my calculator on this. And so what they want you to do is complete the following table for this function and then, whoops, estimate the limit of the function as x approaches 0. So even though they didn't put it right here, it's like they're saying the limit as x approaches 0. That should be underneath the function. So what you have to do is, okay, let's approach it from the left and let's approach it from the right. And of course 0 is right here, which of course it would be undefined, because if you stick 0 where x is in the denominator, 4 times 0 is 0, and you can't divide by 0. Things implode when you divide by 0. So that's undefined. But I'm going to approach it from the left. And when I approach it from the left, I will pick values that get closer and closer to 0. And they used decimals. Okay. If you're approaching it from the left, you're in negative territory. So first they took negative 0.0, negative 0.1, and they plugged that into the function where both x's are, here and here. So I grabbed my calculator, I took 20 times the sine of a negative 0.1 and divided it by 4 times the negative 0.1, and it does say round your answers in the table to 6 decimal places. So for that first one, I got this. And then I went and did it for the same. I plugged this in and then this in, and I got this number and I got this number. And if you look at those numbers in blue, they're going from 0.99160, sorry, to 0.99917 to 0.9999999. If I went even further and typed in negative 0.0001, I would probably get 4.9999999, you know, I get a lot of nines. These numbers, when you're going from here to here to here, they're actually getting closer and closer to the number 5. So then you go to the right side and you look at those numbers and you start with 0.1, plug 0.1 in for the x's here and there, grab my calculator and I get this number. Then I plug in 0.01, I get this number. Then I plug in 0.001, I get this number. And where you're looking at those, they start at 0.991671, 0.99917, 0.999999999. It's also getting closer and closer to 5. So the limit. As x approaches the left gets to 5, from the right gets to 5. Since they both equal 5, 5 is the limit. So you got to do a lot of plugging and chugging on your calculator to get to what, and write those numbers down. And I had already gone over here. Where was it? Yeah, there's all the answers, and you can see they're all in green boxes. So fun times with your calculator.